Hi there. Welcome to live stream Yoga with Louise, tips and cues to keep you safe and strong on the mat. Today we are working into the solar plexus, the belly center, often referred to in yoga as the jewel of the lotus. Not only are you going to be getting an awesome ab workout, but you're simultaneously going to be toning into the lower viscera. Think kidneys, liver, gallbladder, pancreas, the adrenals, the intestines. At the same time, you're also going to be getting a wonderful boost to your self-esteem by activating into the Manipuraka chakra, the energy center that's located between the belly button and the reproductive organs. As always, play where you're comfortable, modify where you need to, and feel comfortable to take a time out in child pose as and when you need it. You ready to play? Let's hit the mat. We're going to set up for today's class coming into a seated frame. Find your way down onto the mat and tuck into easy sit, Sukhasana, leading with the right leg stacked in front of the left. Bring your hands into Gyun Mudra by bringing together the index finger and the thumb and resting the back of the hands on the back of the knees. We're going to start with some breath work. We'll play with Bhastrika breath, bellows breath. You're going to be inhaling and exhaling through the nose, and you're going to focus on a rapid inhalation and exhalation, almost pumping the breath. So it's going to sound something like this. Focus for me on a forceful exhale, and as you exhale, I want you to think of using the lower viscera to almost push up underneath, as if you wanted to tuck underneath the rib cage. You're going to complete one round of small little pumps, shooting for between, let's say, 10 to 15 pumps in one round. And then at the end of your round, you're going to take a deep inhalation and you're going to apply all three locks. You're going to pull up through the pelvic floor, squeeze in the diaphragm, and apply the chin lock, effectively trapping that inhale in the lower energy centers. And then you're going to release the chin lock on a deep exhale. All right, we're going to complete 3 rounds of Bhastrika breath. When you're ready, you're going to begin pumping the breath. Take a big deep inhalation, let's say for 10 counts, then apply your locks, retaining the breath, pulling up through the pelvic floor, squeezing in the diaphragm and applying the chin lock, trapping the air in the lower viscera. And then you're going to release the chin lock and you're going to exhale for a long count of 10. Let's repeat round 2. Last round, begin pumping your breath. Take a deep inhalation, filling up your lungs to capacity. Then retain the breath by pulling up through the pelvic floor, squeezing in the diaphragm, applying the chin lock, effectively trapping that air in the lower viscera. Hold. And then release all 3 locks on a deep exhalation. Gently place the hands palms down on the knees. Take a deep inhale by gently throwing the head back. And on an exhale, nod your chin to your chest, pulling up the pelvic floor, squeezing in the diaphragm and contracting through the lower viscera. Rinse and repeat. Let's do one more. From here, you're going to start tracing some Kundalini circles for me by thinking of giving me a big rotation through the pelvis. Begin your circles small and start making them progressively bigger. Tie your breath into the movement. You're going to take a deep inhalation as you circle forward, and as you circle back, squeeze the diaphragm in, almost thinking of collapsing the ribs in towards your spinal column. Make a nice audible breath, playing with a little ujjayi exhalation by compressing the air through the larynx on the exhale. You're going to give me 2 more. And as you complete the last one, sit up nice and tall, taking a big breath in. And on the exhale, place your right hand palm down on the mat. Soften through the elbow, look down towards the arm as you gently throw the opposite arm overhead and take a little side stretch. Inhale and come back towards the center line. Exhale to drop your left palm to the mat. Make that elbow heavy and take a gentle overhead stretch, looking softly down towards the mat. Inhale and come back towards the center line. Exhale and drop to the other side, looking down to the mat first, and then slowly, slowly rotate through the head and gently peek up to the ceiling. Come back towards the center line and give me 1 more side drop to the left. Starting looking down at the mat, then gently rotating through the head and looking up towards the ceiling. Find your way back to the center line and change the cross of your legs to repeat that little cycle on the other side. Find Gyun Mudra, bringing your thumb and your index finger together, and begin your 3 rounds of Bhastrika breath. Take a deep inhalation, filling your lungs to capacity. Then apply all 3 locks, retaining the breath in the lower viscera. When you're ready to release, first release the chin lock, then the diaphragm lock, then the pelvic floor, and take a long exhalation. Begin round 2. Place your hands, palms down on the knees. Take a deep inhalation, almost softly throwing the neck back and really filling up through the lungs. On an exhale, apply all 3 locks, pulling up through the pelvic floor, squeezing in the diaphragm, applying the chin lock. Rinse and repeat. Let's do 1 more. And then we'll start playing with those little Kundalini spirals. And this time you're going to move for me in an anti-clockwise rotation towards your left knee. Begin your circles small and then start making them progressively bigger, focusing on tying the movement into your breath. So nice, deep inhalation as you come forward, and as you pull back, think of squeezing the diaphragm in on the exhalation. You're going to give me 1 more, and then we're going to take it to that little side stretch. Sit up nice and tall, lengthening through the spine. On an exhale, drop the left palm and elbow to the floor and take a gentle stretch, looking down towards the mat. Inhale and come back towards the center line and take it gently to the other side. Looking down towards the mat. Don't force that elbow to the floor. Just make the forearm nice and heavy to the mat. On your second round, begin looking down and then give me a slow, controlled rotation to the head to gently peek up towards the ceiling. Come back towards the center line and repeat one last time on the right. Looking down towards the floor, then slowly rotating and peeking up to the ceiling. From this position, find your way to 4-point kneeling on the mat, stacking your hands underneath your shoulders and your knees underneath your hips. We're going to play in cat-cow Chakrabhakasana. Inhale to prepare, taking your chin and your bum bones to the ceiling. On an exhale, round up, pulling up the pelvic floor, squeezing in the diaphragm, applying the chin lock. So you're holding the cat a little bit longer. And then deeply inhale to reverse the cycle. So we're using all three bandhas or lock, the Mula Bandha, the Uddiyana Bandha, and the Jalandhara Bandha. Giving me a nice audible exhale to really work deeply into the lower viscera as you play. Let's do one more cycle and then we'll play with a dynamic thread the needle, Sukhi Vandasana. Find your way into a neutral tabletop line, so somewhere between your cat and your cow. Take a deep breath in and float the right arm up to the ceiling. On an exhale, thread the right arm underneath the left armpit, coming to rest on the side of your head. Don't lean into the mat. Softly bump your hips back and check that your hips are lining over the knees. Inhale to float back up into your soft half T frame. On the exhale, thread through, and this time, as you thread through, see if you can float the opposite arm up to the ceiling so that your arms are in a soft T frame. Keep the belly button softly pulled in, keep the lower viscera engaged. Come back towards your start position, big breath in, float that right arm up. On the exhale, thread underneath your left armpit, coming to rest on your right temple. Find your T-frame, then bend that top arm, tuck it behind your back, rotate the palm in, reach for your opposite hip bone, gently peeking up to the ceiling and opening up through the shoulder blades as you keep the belly button firmly pulled in to center. Find your way back to 4-point kneeling to repeat that sequence on the other side. Take a big breath in, float your left arm up. On the exhale, thread underneath your right armpit, coming to rest on the floor. Pause here, make sure your hips are stacked over your knees. Take a big breath in, float back up into your dynamic T. On the exhale, thread through. As you thread through, throw your right arm softly up to the ceiling and find that T frame through the arms. Come back to your start position on the mat. Big breath in. On the exhale, thread through. As you thread through and connect to the mat, take the top arm, tuck it behind your back, rotate the palm in, reaching for your opposite hip. Keep opening up through the top shoulder and keep the belly button firmly pulled in to center. Find your way back to your soft 4-point kneeling frame on the mat. We're going to play in bird dog. Find a long, lengthened spine and stretch or elongate opposite arm and leg. Let's do left leg, right arm. On the exhale, draw the knee and the elbow in towards the midline of the body and give me a dynamic bird dog. Giving me a nice exhale as the knee and the elbow come in towards the center line, looking for that contraction and the work through the belly center as you bring the two limbs together. One more on this side, we're going to change sides. Find your position on the mat first, float the left arm and the right leg into extension, and on the exhale, begin your little pumping motion, bringing the knee and the elbow in towards the midline. nice shooting breath, almost pursing the lips. As you complete your last one, find your way back to your 4-point kneeling frame on the mat. We're going to bend through the elbows, but don't chicken wing them. Keep them hugged in towards your ribs as you caterpillar down towards the belly. Drag the weight forward, setting up a cobra line with the hands maybe just in front of your shoulder line. Either stay here or push up into up dog. Feel the lower belly center stretch. Try and bring the legs up off the floor so you're balancing on the tops of your feet. Then softly rotate, almost knife edging the feet on both sides before dropping softly to the knees and the shins and pushing back in child pose for a little time out. Keep your child really gentle with the legs soft and relaxed and parallel. We're going to add to that sequence. Come through 4-point kneeling. Find your stack, bend through the elbows, caterpillaring down and finding your way into a soft cobra line. Stay here with the bottom rib connected to the mat or push up through the palms, bring the legs up off the mat so that you're balancing. And then as you flip over to the one side, I want you to drop down onto the bottom hip. You can slide the bottom arm a little further out if you need to. Bend the top leg and place the foot firmly on the mat. Take the top hand, rest it on the bottom thigh. Take a deep inhalation and bump your bottom hip up off the mat, coming all the way over as if you wanted to tap the wall on the other side of the room, and you're going to oscillate dynamically, trying to really open up through the ribs and dropping down to the mat with control as you come back down. Let's do 2 more. You're going to end high for me, framing your ear with that top arm. You're going to draw that long extended leg through, and you're going to think of tapping the elbow towards the knee. The 2 limbs don't need to touch, but I want a nice contraction through the core. Let's do 2 more. Then we'll kick it back in child pose. Rotate onto the mat. Find your 4-point kneeling frame. Sit back in child pose and take a little time out. Come back through the center line. Caterpillar down to find your way onto the belly. Set up your cobra line. Staying here or gently pushing up into up dog. Rotating on the other side. Dropping the bottom leg to the floor. Bending the top leg. Finding your placement of the foot on the mat. Top hand gently connected to that inner thigh of the bottom leg. You've got to bump the hip up off the mat. Trying to bring those hips up nice and high towards the ceiling as you think of floating that arm all the way over as if you wanted to bring it flush to your ear and tap the wall on the other side of the room. 1 more like this. You're going to end high. Then you're going to draw that long extended leg in and you're going to think of trying to tap the elbow to the knee and then come back into that long extended line so that you're feeling that stretch through the ribs. 2 more. We're going to kick it back in child pose. Rotate on the mat. Softly kicking back into child. Take a little time out here. We're going to run through a few rounds of sun salutation from here. Gently peel up along the center line and walk to the top end of the mat with enough room to step back behind you. Check that your feet are stacking in parallel underneath your hips. Ragdoll, roll up along the center line and bring your hands to prayer in front of your heart for sun salutation A, Surya Namaskar A. Take a big breath in and float your hands overhead, taking a little back bend. Fold forward, bend the knees as much as you need to step back into a plank line. Relax the knees and the shins to the floor. Caterpillar down, finding your way into a cobra, or push up into the up dog. Pause there and stretch through the lower belly center. Then find your down dog and take it for a gentle walk. Keeping your belly button firmly pulled into center. Step up the right leg and then the left, trying to stack underneath the hips. Peel up along the center line and find your way back to prayer. Big breath in, take a back bend. Exhale and fold forward to step back into your plank. Relax the knees and the shins. Caterpillar down onto the belly. Set up your cobra line. Transition to your up dog, pausing and stretching through the lower belly center, nice and strong. Find your down dog and take it for a walk. Let's do one more round. Step up left and then right, peeling up along the center line to find your hands to heart center. Big breath in, take the back bend, fold forward. Step back to your plank. Release the knees and the shins. Caterpillar down, keeping those elbows tracking in as you find your cobra. Transition to your up dog, pausing, feeling that stretch in the lower belly center. Transitioning to your walking down dog. Step up right and then left. Peel up along the center line. Last time on the left. Big breath in, take that back bend. Fold forward and ease your way into a plank. Relax the knees and the shins. Bend the elbows. Find your way into the belly, setting up your cobra. Transition to your up dog, pausing. Feel that stretch in the lower belly center. Find your last little walking down dog. And then step to the front of the mat. As you peel up on your last one, check that your feet are just inside of hip width distance apart. And then give me a little bear grip by interlacing the fingers, gripping them and almost pulling them apart. So those elbows are nice and wide on the mat. You're going to try and keep your knees nice and narrow as you come down on the haunches. So you're going to bend through the knees, allowing the heels to come up off the floor. And you're going to pause here, taking a little balance. Then you're going to try to tip your weight back, coming to sit and set up a soft boat line. From your boat line, you're going to transition into a butterfly line, bringing the soles of the feet together and allowing the knees to softly splay out. You're going to pause here with the weight just off your tailbone. And then you're going to give me a small throwback, thinking of coming into a hollow hold just off the mat. So think of opening up the arms into a soft T. You're hollowing out through your belly center and you're lengthening through your fingertips and the toes. Peel back up into your boat position, floating the legs into a butterfly line, finding your bear grip, pulling the two hands apart so you're actively working through the arms. Weight is off the tailbone so your belly button is, not your belly button, your belly center is activated. You're going to give me a little throwback, coming into a hollow hold, pausing, holding that scooped frame. Let's do that one more time. Peel up. Make sure that you're actively working the arms. Make sure that the belly is quivering and working. One last little throwback. Hollowing out and holding. Find that scoop so your lower back is imprinted. About 2 fingers of air between the chin and the chest and the weight off the shoulders. Peel softly down to the mat. Bend the knees, connect the soles of the feet to the mat as if you were setting yourself up for a bridge line. And then just place both hands, palms down on the knees, and trace 3 circles clockwise, releasing through the lower back before you change and move your circular release in the opposite direction. We're going to work a modified jackknife. Think of the second Tibetan right. You're going to place your knees. You're going to bend your knees and place the soles of your feet on the mat as you float the hands overhead. Begin with a neutral spine, a little space between your lower back and the mat. On an exhale, you're going to tilt the pelvis to the 12 o'clock position so that your lower back imprints. You're going to scoop and peel up, drawing your legs into a tabletop and hovering the arms either palms in or palms down towards the mat, and rinse and repeat. Exhale to scoop, peel up, hold and hover. Inhale to come back to the mat. Exhale as you come up. Nice strong contraction through the core. Inhale to peel back to the mat. Slow and controlled. As you peel up, think of imprinting your lower back into the mat. Weight just off the shoulders, about 2 fingers of air between the chin and the chest. Let's do 2 more. And then we're going to play with a modified happy baby, Ananda Balasana. As you complete your last one, float back down to the mat. Take your middle index finger and thumb and find a toe lock on each big toe. If you can't reach for the foot, maybe just bend the knees and hug them in towards your chest as you come to a modified happy baby. If your tailbone has peeled right up off the mat, relax your lower back into the mat and tug down softly on your big toe with that little Padangusthasana lock. And then gently begin rocking the body weight just off the center line, side to side. As the back starts warming up, you're going to increase that rock, coming all the way over, tapping or relaxing one leg to the floor, and you're going to repeat that little rocking motion side to side. Once you feel nicely warmed here, you're going to roll over onto one side. You're going to keep the grip on the top leg. You're going to take the bottom arm, tuck it underneath your head as a little brace, and you're going to feed the bottom leg through so that it's in line with your hip. Either keeping your head on the floor or giving me a small prop, you're going to extend the top leg up to the ceiling and try to pull it down as close to your chest as you can. So if you've got the range of motion, you can bend that elbow and bring it as close to your head as you can manage. Pause here for a couple of breaths. Then we're going to repeat that little rock and we're going to take it to the other side. When you're ready, gently find your way back to happy baby. Actively tug down on the big toes and begin rocking just off center, side to side. Start increasing that rock, coming all the way over, side to side, connecting the bottom leg to the mat. And then hold that position on side 2. Brace your bottom arm as a little pillow. Slide the bottom leg through, knee and hip lining up. And then extend the top leg, drawing it as close towards your face or your chest as you can comfortably manage, using a small prop on the bottom arm, or you can use a long extended arm if you prefer. Play and see what works for you today. Find your way back to the mat. Set up your happy baby. Tug down. Just give me a little release of that tailbone. And then relax the soles of your feet to the mat. Give me a goalpost frame through the arms. Think cactus. Then draw the arms towards the midline of the body and cross the right elbow over the legs, coming into a soft eagle bind with the arms. Replicate the eagle line on the legs. Draw your legs into a tabletop line and cross the right leg over the left as if you were sitting on a couch, either keeping the bind loose or taking the right toes and tucking them behind the calf of the left leg. Take a big breath in, and on an exhale, you're going to give me a little eagle crunch. You're going to tilt the pelvis to 12 o'clock, scoop and peel up, almost as if you wanted to tap the elbows to the knees, and you're going to shoot for between 5 and 10 little pumps or crunches, scooping, imprinting your lower back into the mat and feeling a nice contraction through the belly. Last one. From here, you're going to unbind and set up a soft bridge line on the mat. Feet and knees hip width distance apart, arms soft and relaxed at your side. Take a big inhale to prepare. On the exhale, tilt your pelvis to 12 o'clock. Start peeling up one vertebra at a time, disconnecting your bum line from the mat and coming up nice and high in your bridge. Keep your first bridge really basic. Try and tuck the 2 shoulder blades in closer towards the center line. Keep your chin tucked towards the chest. Don't V the legs up. Keep your knees and your feet hip width distance apart. Make sure you're activating through the glutes, the hamstring, the quads, keeping the belly button firmly pulled in to center. Then open up that tension spot between the shoulders and roll down super softly, finding your way back down to the mat. From your bridge setup, we're going to start working the obliques. You're going to, from neutral spine, take a big breath in, tilt your pelvis to 12 o'clock, scoop to peel up, and pause here with your weight just off the shoulders. Hands are floating off the mat. You're going to oscillate side to side as if you wanted to tap the fingertips past the ankle bone side to side so that you're feeling a little bit of shaping work through the trunk. Keep your breath flowing, so find a little breath pattern that works for you. One more. As you complete the last one, float softly back down to the mat. Find your little cactus arms on the mat. We're going to come back into that little eagle, this time on the left. Float the two elbows together along the midline and then cross the left arm over the right, finding a soft prayer-like grip through the hands. Bring the legs up into a little tabletop position, and this time cross the left leg over the right, keeping the bind loose or tucking the toes behind the calf if you can. Take a big breath in to prepare on the exhale. Give me a little crunch and think of peeling up as if you wanted to pull up from the pubis and tuck down from the sternum, tucking in from the sides at the same time so that you're feeling a nice bit of work through the belly center. Playing up a little eagle, a little Garudasana crunch. As you complete the last one, unbind, drop the soles of your feet to the mat, and bring your hands into Jupiter Mudra by interlacing the fingers, bringing your index fingers together and crossing the thumbs. Bring your Jupiter bind towards the chest and allow the thumbs to softly connect to your chest center. Take a big breath in to prepare, and on the exhale, scoop to peel up and come up just off center to the right, pointing your index fingers past your knees on the right. Inhale to peel back down to the mat, filling up to capacity. Exhale long and come up on the left. Holding for as long as you've got exhale. Inhale to peel back down and come up between the thighs. Inhale to peel back down to the mat. As you reconnect, tuck the hands behind your head in a surrender-like fashion with your elbows wide. You're going to give me some high abdominals. From neutral spine, you're going to tilt your pelvis to 12 o'clock so that your lower spine imprints. But as you come up, don't look down towards your belly. I want you to float your chin up to the ceiling so that you're feeling the abdominal muscles north of your belly button. So let's think of the area between the belly button and below your chest. You're going to give me two more. And then we're going to find our way back to Jupiter Mudra. Either keeping your feet on the floor and repeating what you did in the previous round, or floating your legs up into a little tabletop position this time. Take a big breath in, and on an exhale, you're going to come up off center to the right and pause. Hold for as long as you've got exhale. Inhale to reconnect, tapping your thumbs to your chest. Exhale to come up on the left. Holding that scoop and reaching your index fingers past your knees. Inhale to come back. Open up the knees softly and come up between the thighs. Inhale to softly reconnect to the mat. Tuck the hands behind your head. High abdominals. Scoop to peel up. Don't look down towards your belly buttons. Think of floating your chin up towards the ceiling as if you wanted to tap your chin to the ceiling. As you complete your last one, float back into your last little Jupiter flow, either keeping your feet on the floor or bringing them into a tabletop position or floating the legs softly at the 90 position. Take a big breath in to prepare. On the exhale, come up off center to the right. Inhale to peel down, fill up your lungs to capacity, come up on the left. Inhale, come down, open up the legs slightly and come up between the thighs. Soften through the legs, reconnect softly to the mat. As you reconnect to the mat, you're going to come up into a bridge line. Tilt your pelvis to 12 o'clock, and as you roll up and find the apex of your bridge, float your hands into Jupiter Mudra behind your back. So the thumbs are looking up to the ceiling, index fingers are almost pointing through your legs to the wall behind you, and the pinky fingers are connected to the mat underneath you. Try to tuck the two shoulder blades as close together along the center line as you can manage, and try not to look to the side of the room when you're in this modification of bridge setu bandha. Keep your chin tucked firmly towards the chest, activating through the thyroid, helping those adrenals along at the same time. Keep those hips spiked up nice and high to the ceiling. And then when you're ready to come out of your bridge modification, slowly unbind the hands, open up the knots between the shoulder blades and roll down really slowly, one vertebra at a time, reconnect into the mat. Find your way back into neutral spine. Take a deep breath in, tilt your pelvis to 12 o'clock, scoop to peel up just off the shoulders, hovering your arms off the mat, and take that little side to side oblique work as if you wanted to reach your fingertips past your ankle bone on each side. Keep your lower back scooped and imprinted, weight just off the shoulders, and feel that shaping work happening through the trunk and bleeding into the lower viscera. You're going to give me 2 more. As you complete your last set, you're going to peel softly back down to the mat, and you're either going to keep the hands palms down at your side, or you're going to tuck the hands underneath your bum and almost form a little diamond shape with your hands underneath the bum to support your lower back. We're going to take it into a little tailbone lift, and you're going to play where you're comfortable, either keeping it really basic or progressing and taking it almost into a rollover. You're going to begin by floating your legs softly up to the ceiling. This is your halfway mark, your 90 line. Begin just behind the 90 line. Think of somebody tugging on your toes, pulling your legs through the 90 line. You're going to pike your hips up softly towards the ceiling and then back to your start position. So you're just giving me a little lift of the tailbone and feeling a little bit of work south of the belly button. You're either going to stay here, or the next time you're going to pike it all the way onto the shoulder blades and then drop the toes towards the floor, almost coming down in a soft plow-like position to find your way back to your start point. Play where you're comfortable and just see what works for you. Either coming into the full expression and piking softly up to the ceiling, before coming down in an almost plow-like position, tapping your toes to the floor and coming back to your start position. If this proves too much for you, just stay really basic with a little tailbone lift and drawing back. Play where you're comfortable. Last one. You're going to softly drop those feet to the mat. Peel back up, weight just off the shoulders, and do that little side to side oblique work, reaching past your ankle bone on both sides. From here, we're going to come back to that little happy baby play, and we're going to change it up slightly. Feed your way back down to the mat. Find your little middle index finger and thumb lock, Padangusthasana lock, around the big toe of each side as you come to happy baby. If your tailbone has come up off the mat, rock the weight back into your tailbone. Try to get that tailbone to relax to the floor and start your gentle off-center, side-to-side sway, relaxing, making the lower rib cage and spine nice and heavy into the mat. Then start rocking all the way over side to side, dropping the bottom leg nice and close to the floor. Keep that big toe lock. The next time you roll over, feed the bottom arm underneath your head, find a prop, feed the leg through, and this time give me a long extended line, and take that top leg as close to you as you can. If you find it quite easy, maybe reach back for the calf, soften the leg, and try to bring it as close to your rib cage as you can. Just play where you're comfortable. If bringing it close is not working for you, maybe modify and just tuck behind the thigh, drawing the knee in as close to your rib cage as you can comfortably manage. Then gently find your way back onto the back to rinse and repeat to the other side. Find your big toe lock as you come into happy baby and under balasana, and then gently begin your side to side, just off center sway. When that starts feeling comfortable, make your side sway progressively bigger, trying to connect the bottom leg to the floor as you gently rock side to side. And then when you're ready, you're going to repeat that little stretch on side two, coming all the way over, tucking your bottom arm underneath your head, extending the bottom leg and giving me a nice long line on the mat. Taking that top leg up to the ceiling, if that feels comfortable, maybe binding behind the leg, reaching for the calf and trying to hug that thigh even closer towards your rib cage, or maybe playing with a modification, bending the arm, finding a little prop and trying to hug that knee in as close towards your rib cage as you can. Play where you're comfortable. Then gently ease your way back onto the mat. You're going to float your legs into a supine butterfly. So the soles of the feet together, the knees are softly splayed out. You've got a neutral spine, a comfortable little bit of space between your lower back and the mat. You're going to float the hands overhead and we're going to work a little butterfly crunch. Take a big breath in to prepare, and on the exhale, you're going to tilt your pelvis to 12 o'clock, scoop to peel up, weight off the shoulders, almost reaching through as if you wanted to lift your feet up off the mat and tap them, and then come back to your start position, reconnecting feet and arms to the mat. Exhale to scoop and peel up, feeling a nice little scoop and crunch through the core. Inhale to peel back. Give me a nice little shooting breath through the mouth as you contract through the core. Make sure that you're imprinting the lower back into the mat, bringing the weight off the shoulders with about 2 fingers of air between the chin and the chest, as if you had a grapefruit tucked underneath the chest. The last one, you're going to reach through, grabbing for the front of your ankles, and you're going to give me a little butterfly hang. Make the shoulders heavy into the mat. Keep that slight scoop and nod your chin softly towards your chest, holding and making the belly button as heavy to the spine as you can, with your toes trying to pierce the wall in front of you. From here, you're going to gently find your way onto the back, keeping that supine butterfly position, or bringing the knees together and dropping the soles of the feet to the floor if you feel uncomfortable in the supine butterfly position. Place your right hand over the belly button and over the lower belly area. Give me a nice big hand, so open up those fingers nice and wide, and then connect your left hand to your chest. Close your eyes and take your focus in for some belly breathing. As you inhale, you're going to take a nice deep inhalation and you're going to allow your belly to dome up towards the ceiling as if there was a little balloon deploying underneath your hand. On the exhale, you're going to allow all of the air to deflate that balloon and think of almost hollowing out your belly as the belly button becomes heavy towards the mat. You're going to rinse and repeat. Close your eyes and take your focus in. As you allow the belly to fill up, check that the ribs are not, or that the chest is not lifting up. So I want you to relax the chest and focus on breathing really deeply into the belly. So the chest staying relatively still as you breathe in. Then maybe think of trying to keep the chest still, but expanding the ribs out to the side of the room. So breathing deeply into the belly, ballooning the belly out and allowing the rib cage to almost expand laterally. Not up to the ceiling, out to the side. Keep your breathing soft and almost inaudible. Keep your eyes closed and your focus in as you connect to your belly center, your Manipuraka chakra. Give me one more round. And then as you complete your last round, keeping the eyes closed, overlay the left hand on top of the right, resting on your belly center, the jewel of the lotus. Take a moment to thank yourself for connecting with your body and boosting your self-esteem for the remainder of the week. End off your practice by just nodding your chin softly towards your chest and whispering the words, Namaste. Stay on your back for as long as you're comfortable. When you're ready, softly flutter open the eyes and roll over onto one side of your body, preferably onto the right side of the body, unless you're pregnant. Find a soft prop on the bottom arm and just stay in a soft fetal position, either bracing on the knees or the shins or placing that hand softly onto the mat. And when you're ready to come out, softly come up into a seated position, bringing up your head last before you come to the standing position. Thank you so much for coming out and playing with me on the mat today. I really hope you enjoyed today's class. Give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Remember to shoot me your comments in the comments box below the YouTube display window and to subscribe to my channel with your notification bell on. I shall see you all for Pilates conditioning on the mat tomorrow. Till then, keep it light.